All right, guys, I'm here with Patrick Palony. He is let me get this all right, the WC and Trans Am correspondent for North American Sportscar. According to him, he's living the SCCA life.
Yep, I got my flag and communications license earlier this year, and I've so far just trying to get as many races as I can under my belt.
Oh, good for you. All right. I love SCCA. I
Uh,
I couldn't make the regional last week. I used to do a lot of SCCA racing back in the day, and I do rally cross still now and all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, Trans Am 2015. Quick, what do you think's going on? What is your impression so far this season?
it it's taken off like nothing I have ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
In 2009, I was going over with a friend of mine earlier. 2009 at Brainerd, we had 7 cars,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're looking at before today when they announced that they were going to broadcast it on TV. We were looking at around 50 cars. Now I'm guessing it's probably going to be over 60. I haven't seen a series ever take off like this before.
It is kind of amazing. I was surprised they had close to 70 cars in Homestead. Nobody wants to go all the way down to Homestead.
I
Um,
know that was the thing. I was talking with Jim Durhog, who of course owns a couple of Corvettes and is on the board of directors of TARC. And he said he was looking at 60, 70 cars for the televised rounds
mhm.
because everybody wants to go to Road America, everybody wants to go to Mid Ohio,
Right.
but not everybody wants to go to Homestead or New Jersey.
Mhm.
But it was Homestead that really showed me that Trans Am is back and it's huge
It,
because
right. Because
not go ahead.
well, because I look at it now, it's like people go, well, they know it's back, it's huge, so they're gonna go for the championship, and they can't afford to skip a race now if they're trying to go for the points.
Usually it did really used to be where you could show up, you could win maybe 2 rounds and end up third or fourth in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like Paul Fix who would do like Lime Rock and the East Coast rounds,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd end up placing pretty well in the championship because he'd usually win out there.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's got a full season effort, and it's because it's actually getting to the point where you have to contest the full season to get the championship.
All right. Well, why do you think the popularity of Trans Am has taken off? Why has it grown so fast, so soon?
I think it's because it presents an extremely cost-effective way to go racing because you have TA2, which is spec house chassis. You can buy them. You can buy pretty much everything off the shelf because it's all just crate motors, and it's 100-mile race distance, so it's not going to be very expensive. Unlike World Challenge, which is 2 50-minute races, which isn't as expensive as Tudor, which is an incredibly expensive endurance series. Plus, I think it's Trans Am. It's so romantic that it tugs at the heartstrings a little bit. At least it does for me. I don't know about anyone else, but plus, even TA is relatively inexpensive. You can. I know a new Durhog car goes for about 350 grand, and I believe that is with engines. So, and plus it's not very many motorsports can claim to be on TV now. So it prevents a good package for teams who are either looking the way to step up from club racing, like Lawrence Loshak, who's done the same this year after winning God knows how many SCCA club championships, or it shows. And it's also good for drivers like Shane Lewis, who has done everything under the sun, and now wants to go do something fun.
Right. The performance-wise, also, I want to add to what you were saying. You can buy a Trans Am car, and that's a fast car. It's not like you're going low rent here. I mean, that would qualify well up in an IMSA grid.
I did some calculations. Back when the season just ended, but if you buy a Trans Am Corvette these days, you have a car that's faster than an LMPC car around Daytona.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah.
You are qualifying in the prototype grid at Daytona.
I was at the last race at Daytona last year, and it was funny. They had to. I shouldn't tell this story, but because of various reasons, they were only allowed to go. They said, okay, you can race on the banks, but you can't go that fast. So they were like pulling the radar gun down quicker because they were going too fast. I'm going to get in trouble for telling that story.
Uh-oh.
All right. Okay, but this season we have really total domination between two drivers. in TA2, Cameron Lawrence.
Hmm.
Let's talk about him first. Is he that good, or is the car just that good?
I think it's a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Miller has been, or Miller Racing has been basically a stalwart of TA2 since it came in, and
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Lawrence has been with them ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Dodge said that they stepped away from all motorsports, especially last year after they axed the Viper GT program.
Mm-hmm.
But if you notice on that car, the only sponsorship that Cameron Lawrence has on his overalls is Dodge.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's anything going on there, but I think it's a perfect combination of the two, of Dodge wanting to find, like I said, a cost effective way of going racing,
Mm-hmm.
sort of like under the table, of of Cameron Lawrence really coming on strong. I mean, the kid won the GTD class at Daytona this year.
Yeah, he is quick. He is quick. You can put him in anything. But,
Hmm. And
but go ahead.
last year he destroyed Cliff Eben at the June Sprints
Wow.
at Cliff's home track.
Oh. Um, Now in TA, you have something interesting where you've had a guy, RJ Lopez, who on qualifying is the fastest guy out there.
Hmm.
He's got the fastest car, but he wasn't able to finish any races the first couple of races. He's not going to be racing, looks like, anymore the rest of the season. And so we got the same thing, a domination. Amy Ruman, pretty much owning the series right there. Um, is she America's best female racer right now?
Undoubtedly,
Yeah, but
absolutely. I mean, it takes a special kind of talent to wheel a Trans Am car like that because they are big, heavy cars and they got a lot of power.
mm-hmm.
And to see it,
Amy's not big. She's not a
no,
big. She's not a big, strong. She's a petite woman when you look at her. But go ahead.
she's beating guys like Doug Peterson, who has driven these cars for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
Simon Gregg, who has driven these cars for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, I think it's something incredible that needs to be like in the media more. Like, oh my god, like a woman driver who has won every single race this year so far. I can't remember any other time that's happened in road racing before.
No, I can't. I can't in pretty much any kind of racing. My all-time female favorite driver was Michelle Mouton, but she only won a couple of races, a
Mm-hmm.
couple of rallies. She's dominating the series in a car that, it's a Corvette. It's prepared well, but it's not like she has any special trick parts or something like that because the series doesn't
Yeah,
allow that.
and that's an old car too.
Mm-hmm.
It was I talked to one of the mechanics last year. It's the last Rocket Sports car built,
Hmm.
and you've got
And she's running the old bodywork too.
running the old C6 bodywork, and you've got all the guys who bought up C7s now are just starting to come to terms with it, which means they basically have another year and a half of development on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Tony Ave coming in, hopefully with the new Cadillac.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be another year and a half, 2 years of development. So
Mm-hmm.
I think everything's coming at a good time for Amy to finally get that championship he's been fighting for.
What about Ford? Do you think Ford's going to get more involved with Trans Am?
That's a really tough one because I don't mean to plug, but back in February, I did a rather long interview with Jim Durhog,
Mm-hmm.
who, and he said that, if the manufacturer wants to come in, they're not going to be able to come in with, cubic amounts of dollars and run everybody out of competition because that's
Right.
not what the series,
Mm-hmm.
that's not good for the series, it's not good for the teams, and it's certainly not good for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
So if a team wants to come in, they're going to have to do it on their terms.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have to be able to limit themselves to what they can do to be able to compete evenly with everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is Ford interested? Maybe. I mean, it would be they have plenty of history there that I'm sure they'd love to capitalize on.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good team in Lamers who have started to pick up more and more now after
Mhm.
Tony Abe's raced with them in TA2.
Mm-hmm.
And I would certainly love to see a factory Mustang back. So, and I'm sure the fans would too. So,
Well,
it's
I did notice a week or so ago, Ford did add a little contingency thing in the muscle car to TA3 class and stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm kind of looking at it. Let's see what happens. Let's put our fingers in there, see, because there's one thing spending money on a series. They want to get their bang for their buck. Ford exists to sell cars, so they want to see what kind of return on investment and get there. And I think TA3 is a series that, it's fun. It's good for. I think it's good for a series because it fills up the grid. But I don't really see that as a series you want to invest money in, a class you want to invest money in.
No. At this point, if there's a class you want to invest smart money in as a manufacturer, it'd be TA2.
TA2.
Because you can put whatever body you want on it, and if you have a V8 in your company's range, you could probably make that work in there. And
it'd be sweet to see like an Altima out there or a Camry with a V8.
That would be pretty cool, actually. They're like V8 supercars then.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Even Mercedes and BMW, I would welcome them, and just as long as it's equal. Because it's pretty much like the engines are all the same horsepower.
Yeah, engine. It's basically because it's going to be the same chassis underneath. All it is just engine and bodywork.
Well, when you look at Toyota in NASCAR, Toyota doesn't make a pushrod V8 motor except to race in NASCAR.
No one makes a pushrod V8.
No, Chevy does.
Yes, they do. Chevy does.
Chevy does, but everybody else has got to make a motor just for NASCAR. And it's like, okay, works for them. So
hey, it works for Trans Am too. They got the same engines, well, carbureted. But
yeah. All right, let's go. They're racing in Connecticut this weekend. I love that course. A little short, little bull ring. If there's a bull ring course, it's that.
Absolutely.
I wish I had the bodywork concession because a lot of it's going to be flying this weekend.
I wish I was Carrie Hitt at this moment in time going, yes.
Cameron and Amy think they're going to continue their domination?
Oh, God. I think Adam Andretti really has Cameron Lawrence's number if he can hold it together. Because I think from when I wasn't able to watch, I watched the timing and scoring for the TA2 race. And I think Andretti had that race in the bag before his handling started to go away. And I think Paul Fix is an absolute monster around Lime Rock. So, if he can keep that car under him, he's definitely going to push Room into the edge.
You think Paul Fix is the only person who can challenge Amy for a championship?
That's a tough one. I mean, he's visiting a lot of these tracks for the first time in a long while because he's really stuck to the East Coast over the formative years of Trans Am. But
Trans Am only runs East Coast tracks anyway.
True.
It's one thing I don't think anybody's really noticed. Trans Am's SCCA, so is Pirelli World Challenge. Except for St. Petersburg, Pirelli only races in the Western United States, pretty much. Barber, whatever. Other than that, but most of their races are out west. Trans Am is an East Coast race. It's an eastern, Minnesota and Texas. That's the farthest west they go.
Well, and Road America and Mid Ohio.
Oh yeah, but Ohio's east. Still it's eastern courses.
Good. Yeah, far enough. Yeah. Sure enough.
It should be interesting. I can't wait till Daytona. That's going to be a fun. I believe there is going to be a challenge. Paul Fix and a couple other people might be able to battle for the championship still.
Yeah, I'm going up to Brainerd and I'm going to work the race, and my God, I'm going to have to stick my blue flag just on a. I'll just have to bring a stand for it because my God, it's going to be flying.
We talked about Trans Am. You also cover WEC. You do some other stuff. North American Sportscar, NASportscar.com. What else do you do out there?
I'm going to be going to Austin, hopefully, depending on finances, to hopefully cover that live for everyone. And I'm going to try and get some stuff written up for Le Mans, depending on just time because I'm pretty busy this time of year. And me and some friends have started a quasi podcast over on YouTube called Garage 57, which hasn't taken off yet, but it's just a lot of fun to just get out there and
YouTube. Just go to YouTube Garage 57.
Yeah, Garage 57 Racing is our username, and
I'll make sure it's up underneath your face right there.
We've got 2 or 3 episodes up there so far. We're primarily sports cars, but we do like to talk about IndyCar. I occasionally get to rant about Trans Am and whatnot. They do laugh at me for my fanaticism, but I just convinced one of my friends out in New Jersey to go to Lime Rock this weekend. So
Oh, good for you. It's people sometimes ask, "What about Trans Am?" And I go, "What's the only series that's actually growing?"
hmm
So well, Pro Early World Challenge is doing well, even though they're having a heck of a year. But
ugh,
that's for another day. We'll talk
that is so
about
sad.
yeah, we'll talk about that another time. Patrick, I want to thank you for coming on. I'll make sure everybody knows about your stuff there, and hopefully we'll talk again soon later in the season.
It's been a pleasure. I'd love to come on and spout more nonsense.
You make me look good. All right, we've been talking with Patrick Palony from North American Sports Cars. Take it easy, man.
You too, sir.